the way, ISET stands for Inspired Towards Science, Engineering and Technology, which is part of the UNISA Science Engagement Project. For any other general queries, kindly please email us at i-set@unisa.ac.za. You can follow us on Facebook, we are iSetLego. On Twitter, we are iSetLego_UNISA. On YouTube, we are iSetUNISA. For any other questions during the session, don't hesitate to post them on the chat box. Then we'll definitely monitor them. And during the question and answer session, we'll definitely look at them. For now, I'll hand over to Meneer Johannes for the house rules. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Tamila. Welcome, everybody. We only have again a few small house rules for today. We'd just like to ask everybody to please mute your cameras to save data and bandwidth. Also to mute your microphones to keep all the background noise to minimum. If anybody has a question at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand, or you can put it into the chat area if you're having some mic problems. And then over to you, Dr. Gous.
Thank you very much. I'm just quickly looking. We've got 14 in the class, but I'm sure we're going to have some more. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about programming, and the whole thing is to teach learners to do programming, with or without the robot, and obviously we'd like to start sooner rather than later. So I'm going to present a whole range of programming options, but just know that it's where you are. So I'll give you some options for grades 1, 2, and 3, and I'll give you some options from grade 4 upwards. And so the challenge kind of is download Scratch Junior and see whether you can figure it out. And then when you've got that right, then you can do Scratch. Also download it, build a project, and then do that. And then right at the end, I'll tell you we're going to do Python. I'm going to introduce Python in 2 weeks' time. So kind of there is a continuum of this presentation. All right. So let's start and share my screen. All right. So let's just go through the presentation. If I can find it. All right, and I need somebody from my team to say we can see it.
Yes, Dr. Gous.
Awesome. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Okay, so it really is a mushmash of programming and programming concepts and programming ideas. So keep the questions, but you'll see it all fits in together eventually. There is a continuum. When we teach programming, we start where we are and we move towards the more complex and the more abstract. All right. So just as an introduction, I'm Patricia Gous. We have Cabello, who's the engagement. We have communications, Anzani, Nadine, and Tumelo. And then the production is Casper, and Anzani is doing the analytics for us. It's really important for us, as we said just now, to understand, to get feedback. And so we really value your feedback. Anzani will put up a kind of a feedback form just now. You're welcome to add your comments. But if you're going onto the MOOC portal, please add your evaluation at the end of your MOOC. All right, so in terms of grades, if you've got grades 1, 2, and 3, you can use Scratch Junior or Scratch. And I think everybody should try at least one project in Scratch. And in terms of robotics, we do the WeDo kit. And the WeDo kit has now been retired, and we're using Spike Essential. So that's also with a Scratch programming environment. So we're going from icon-based programming to Scratch-based programming. Then for the grade 4s, their target is Python programming, and that in and of itself is a huge leap of faith. But as I unpack it, I'll show you that there are easier ways to introduce the complex, and then you gradually increase the complexity of it. Okay, and then for robotics, we use the EV3 robotics kit, and then we program either in EV3 Lab or EV3 Classroom language. The Classroom is the Spike version of it, the Scratch version of it, and the Lab is then the icon-based version of it. And then, of course, you've got Spike Prime with its own language, which is also Scratch. Okay, so we are on session 3 or 4 sessions, so we're nearly there. And really kind of just as a culture, we are here to equip our robotics coaches, whether you are an educator or a student or a trainer, facilitator, or you're one of the visionary community leaders that we have in this country. We would love to equip you to coach learners as a robotics team. Okay, and then we'd love to hear your questions, and yes, there are recordings available. Okay, we want to go from basics to beyond. So if you look at robotics, even if you just go and look at, say, Boston Dynamics, go and look at the robotics that they're doing. We have to start somewhere. We cannot start on a Boston Dynamics robotics team. They are doing really amazing stuff. But what we're doing now is equipping coaches to start with our learners. All right, we need a kit, we need a laptop, and in these sessions, we will then explore alternative pathways. All right, so this is where we were yesterday. We did the physical robot, or we can use the Lego Digital Designer or the Brick Studio. Yesterday, we did simulations for learning programming. That was the GearsBot, and Nadine, I see it's supposed to be GearsBot. And Nadine is our in-house expert on GearsBot. And then we have the Virtual Robotics Toolkit. And I'm thinking I can put Casper's name in here, but he's still busy writing exams. So Casper, no queries until you finished exams. Sorry. Okay, so let's just start really where it's a good place to start. There has to be, in grades 1, 2, and 3, it's got to be fun. And so Scratch is a program that it's free software developed by MIT for storytelling. Okay, that is the less abstract. Storytelling is a known concept to most of our learners. Obviously, some kids tell very complex stories, but let's go with all kids tell less abstract or kind of simplified stories to start with, and then they can, you see, and then you're increasing the complexity of it. All right. So this is Scratch Junior. There's a gazillion sites where you can download for free. There is a support group. There are guidelines. There are examples. There are projects you can do. You can download existing projects. It really is a fun way just to start. So down the bottom here, you'll see these are the icons that you put together to make a program. No syntax, no commas, no indenting, no nothing. All right, it's just a whole, and you can run it. And then if you run it, I'll show you what I did just now whilst I was waiting. A lot of fun, but you want to kind of make children aware of the programming principles. You probably won't name the principles, but I'm sure they've got the idea, and you can always refer back to it and say, like when you did. All right, and of course the cat is always the friendly face. All right, so this was my little thing. That is my sprite. A sprite is a little thingamajiggy in your program. There I can choose my background, so I chose a road in the city, and then I wrote my program. So it says start, walk 5 steps, and go back to where you started, and you keep doing that. So this little sprite will walk 5 steps and then go back, and then walk 5 steps and go back, and walk 5 steps and go back, and it's just ongoing. All right, you've got the principles of a start and end, you've got principles of loop, you've got principles of count. Okay. Okay, so your challenge is I want to see some Scratch Junior. Next week, let's see what Scratch Junior projects you can create. It'll be cool. Okay, so Scratch, once you've done Scratch Junior, Scratch goes on a little bit higher level. We start programming like this. Okay, so if you just look here, there we kind of link them all together, and it's like a puzzle. All right, now we are going into programming. Okay, so it's still very colorful, still got the kitty cat, still got a background, but with Scratch programming, it's been taught in high school as well. Okay, it is important to make use of the online resources. It is important to go and see what other people are doing and say, And of course, then you've got a whole lot of tutorials. You will not need to create your own tutorials, but that's also in and of itself a challenge. Let's create some of our own tutorials. We have our iSet Scratch tutorials. That'll be just amazing. If you want to contribute, let me know. All right. Okay, so now we come to grade 4, and there's an assumption here that when you come to grade 4, you've done grade 1, 2, and 3 programming. Okay, which in our country is not true at the moment. Okay. So I would, and and this is where you need to know your children. When you do programming for grade 4 upwards, what I'm going to explain now is on the assumption that they've got some fundamentals. They've got some basis on which they're doing programming. So if they have not, got the basics programming, then you need to just, let's make a plan. All right, so grade 4 plus, oh, no, sorry, I left out an extra thing. This is what I was going to tell you. This is the WeDo programming, which I was showing you. So if you have a robot and you go up, see, this is all code that you can count. So you start, you take the motor, you go one rotation, and you go back. All right. So all this is the WeDo programming. There are tutorials. Oh, this is with a robot. Oh, sorry, that slide was in the wrong place. So robotics, you use robotics then to learn programming. For grade 1, 2, and 3, we use a robotics kit called WeDo. This has now been replaced by the Spike Essential, but also it clicks into each other, you see, and it clicks all, it's got the shape, it clicks into it, you can develop all your own programs. Again, drag and drop, okay? Okay, so these will be the robotics programs that you can do with your grades 1, 2, and 3. You can build little robots, you can make them go forward, you could make it tilt, and then there's some projects as well, some themed projects. So if you're doing trash, then you can do this and then make the little robots sort your recycling, okay? Also, but it's all available online and it's all free. Okay, so let's just, before I go on to programming, programming is essentially about problem solving, okay? And there are programming principles. There are variables, there are flow control, there are constants, there is input, process, and output. So all those principles can be taught no matter what language, all right? But you do need a language that you're going to learn, all right? And because programming is essentially abstract, you need to create the learning environment that is as least abstract as possible. All right, so if you have a robot, you actually have a concrete robot and you make the robot move, you use a move command. There is no abstractness in that, okay? And similarly, if you go back to Scratch Junior, you make the little sprite move and you add the move command, it will move, albeit on your screen, okay? The focus when you're learning to program is that there are alternative ways to introduce programming. And I would hate for programming to become one of the mundane subjects of school. I would really prefer that it stays the fun way so that learners can discover, so they can explore, that they can know that you as the educators don't have all the answers. And really, they have got so many resources at their fingertips, all right? Yes, you can program with a robot. You can also program without a robot. There are two options there. And without a robot, you can do a virtual robot as well, which we investigated yesterday. All right. Whenever you do a programming introduction, this is like a continuum. You have to go from the concrete to the abstract. You have to always move from the visual to text-based and syntax, but you have got to keep moving. You've got to encourage learning. So I would say let everybody start on Scratch Junior just for the fun of it, and let's see what they get out of it. Next day, let's do Scratch, just normal Scratch, and then you up the lessons as you go along. But in each programming and lesson, and I put it in inverted commas, there's got to be a principle. Okay, so the flow control, the looping, the switching. In programming, there are only three flow controls. So you either do it linear, this, then this, then this, looping this, and then you repeat it multiple times, or switching where there's a decision. All right. There's input and there's output. Your input usually has a data type. Your output usually has a data type. Okay. Event-driven programming is when something triggers it. And then there are the best practices. You have to program for reuse. So you have to use comments in your code. All right. So if you look at programming languages or programming continuum, there was nothing there that just caught my attention. But just to make you aware that if you look at all the programming languages, yeah, as horses for courses, or courses for horses, whatever way you want to do it. All right, there's top 10 programming, and I'm sure the top 10 programming languages are changing as we go along. Okay. But one of the most popular programming languages at the moment is Python, all right? But within Python, there is a concrete and then there's an abstract, okay? So the totally abstract is when we write Python programs for applications, for games, and we can develop games. We can use it for data science, so the analysis of data sets. That is on the one end of the Python. But when you introduce it to your learners, you're not going to be introducing develop applications for the banking world, all right? So we need to take it one step back and make it less abstract, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right, what we did yesterday was we said we're going to teach some programming on a virtual robot, and this is the Virtual Robotics Toolkit. There are competitions there. You can program it. Every learner has a robot, or I wouldn't say every learner. I would say rather let them work in teams of 2 and 3. Robotics is about teamwork, and that is part of the 21st century skills that you want. Okay, so that is an option. You do your programming down here, and then if you choose a competition, you click on the competition, and then your mat will be there, or the sandbox to learn the basics. There's a nice one for teenagers, a Python cleanup. Moving on. Okay, so and then there was also linked to that, what we did yesterday was also the gears bot. That's also an option where you do the programming and then you make the robot move. All right. So this is what the EV3 lab or laboratory software looks like. It's kind of been around since 2013, a good 10 years. No, it's not even 10 years, 8 years. And it is really fundamental. Yeah, let me just tell my dog to keep quiet. All right. Gosh. There we go. Okay, so very much drag and drop, but very intuitive. You can start them working on small programs, and then as the lab, as you get your more complex programs, your complexity will increase. All right, so the EV3 classroom looks like this, and if you've done Scratch, you will say, recognize it, okay? But notice that the programs can become just as complex, okay? So once you put all the programs together, it's going to be just as complex for programming. Okay. And then Spike Prime, you can see those programming. Also, it can get as complex as you want it to get complex. The cool thing is, however, that Spike Prime or EV3 Classroom, you can generate the Python programming straight away. It'll generate it for you. So that's done. And so that gives you something to read and to kind of get an understanding of what the Python code would look like. Okay. Again, there are a gazillion tutorials to do Python programming, how to go into Python. Oops, there we go. All right. So here again is you've got the robot. You can program it in Spike Prime, in Spike Prime, which is your Scratch language. But then similarly, you can just program it into the Python language. Same thing. All right. Okay, so this is what the Python programming looks like. You can see there's lots of commas and indentations and comments and syntax. All right, but this is presented within the Anaconda Jupyter Notebook environment, and so so each of these is an example, which we then use as lessons. So this we created worksheets. In the Anaconda environment to teach Python, and then we call them Jupyter Notebook pages. So that's just an easier way of learning Python. So if you've done your Scratch and your Scratch Junior and you're up for Python, then we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. All right. Okay. So this is an overview of where we are with programming. We'd love you to share your experiences, but keep moving. You've got to start somewhere, and so start with Scratch Junior. Okay. There are many opportunities, okay? And if you have any ideas, I'm also aware that to teach programming for the smaller ones, there are some unplugged activities. And I heard last night they're giving away the game to anybody who phones and asks for it. So there are opportunities. We just need to be aware of them and to make full use of them. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to now open the floor for any questions. Any questions?
If anybody has a question, please feel free to raise your hand or unmute, or you can put it into the chat area.
Otherwise, I'm going to inflict my spike, my prime, what's it called?
Yes, we have a question.
Oh, awesome. Hi, Awa.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very good, and yourself?
I'm all right. I wanted to find out if you want to facilitate and provide lessons, where do you get the curriculum for the lessons?
Okay. Awa, which are you a teacher at a school?
Yes, a teacher from grade 4 to 10. That's what we're planning on teaching, robotics from those grades.
Okay. Are you teaching according to the DBE curriculum?
No, we haven't started. That's why I want to find out, where do you get the curriculum from?
Okay. So the DBE hasn't published the curriculum for grade 4 upwards yet. However, if you join the MOOC, the M1 MOOC from ISET, we have a robotics lesson plan. So M1 gives you the basics of building, programming, and navigation and problem solving. You're welcome to go and look on the M1 MOOC portal. And then as you learn from the learning materials, you can then teach that to your learners. There are activities and there are challenges included on the portal.
Okay, thank you. I'll have a look at it.
Excellent. Excellent. Good to have you with us. Thank you, Awa.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else? Yes, Gunther. Hi.
Hi. To add to what you said about have everybody start with scratch. So what we've done with the honors students, I mean, these are fourth-year students. We started them on Lego Classroom, EV3 Classroom.
Yes.
On Monday and Tuesday.
Awesome.
And then this morning switched. And yes, no, I think it's a great idea actually, just to start in that way. So yes, I support that idea.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Yes, I hear you. Let's just get started. So I'm going to share my oh so lovely. This is my, can everybody see my Scratch program?
Yes, Dr. House.
Awesome. Okay, so if I change the background here, I click on the background and let's go into middle of winter. Okay, so there we've got the middle of winter. And my little sprite is going to move. And so here I've got him moving forward and then going back. So let's make that 5, make it 8. So he's got to walk a little bit further. And then we make him walk and go ting, 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 ting. Okay, can you see how the program changes here? All right. And then you can make funny sounds. If you click on there, you can put sounds in. Okay, let me just stop him here quickly. All right, can you see how children can, well, I think anybody can. Okay, this is down just to make you crazy. It'll go pop. All right, so you've already introduced linear, 1, this, and then going backwards. All right, so this is, and then you can change the background and you can change the sprite. Let's go onto the farm and you can add animals and yeah. All right, and you can add comments and you can make him talk and I don't know, you can do all kinds of funny things. Make 2 people. Oh, he's got to grow. So let him grow here as he walks. Okay, now we run it and he goes big, big, big. You see him going bigger? All right. And the options are, okay, let's go here. Make him go smaller. All right. And then you have to be able to explain then what you've done in your programming. But as Gunther says, just start the students. Doesn't matter what their ages is, just make them start at least. All right. Yes. Gunther, I'm just going to ask you, have you tried the virtual robotics toolkit at all in your classroom?
Right. No, we haven't tried that. So, yeah, yes, this is only a 2-week activity that we have, and
Okay.
hopefully we will have school learners on campus again soon and start off with them then.
We're also hoping for that. We're also hoping to get students back on our campus again. But yes, good going. Yes. Excellent. All right. Anybody else got any programming? Are there any in the chat? No? I can't. Okay, let me just put this here. All right. I can't see any more comments. All right. But I do see Nadine is here. Nadine, do you want to share your news this morning? Our robotics news. Where's Nadine? Nadine?
Okay, so let me just get the link to the tweet.
Okay.
Once again, participants, please see the chat box for any general queries. Kindly please email us on i-set@unisa.ac.za related to today's session. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, as well as that's our MOOC portal link.
Thanks, Tumelo.
And for those who have questions regarding Dr. Ho's previous presentation, this is an opportunity for you to also ask us questions while we're waiting for Nadine to share the presentation. Feel free to unmute yourself or to raise your hand or to post on the chat box, and we'll certainly attend to your question. All right, Mr. Erasmus, is everything well on your side? All right. I'll go to Tsebiso. On your side, how's things? No, I see.
I'm still okay, thank you.
Still okay. That's great. Thank you. I see we've got OWA Robotics. Are you still fine? All right. Over to you, Nadine. Are you winning? Nadine, are you winning on your side? Or while we're waiting for Nadine, let me just share my presentation of the MOOC portal. What do you think?
That's a good idea. Yes.
Yeah. So for those of you who didn't join us, when was it? The previous days. We've got a MOOC portal. So on this MOOC portal, you can find our iSet Robotics M1 link. So if you are still new here, this is what you can simply do. You click on mooc.unisa.ac.za/portal. Here's it on the link there at the top. And then next to the UNISA logo, it's a welcome and how to register. When you click on how to register, it will open a PDF Word. On that PDF Word, it will give you an instructions of how to register yourself for a MOOC portal. So as you can see here, it's written new account. So you have to create yourself a new account whereby you create your own user ID. You fill in your first name, last name, your email address, your age, your gender, your location. Then you create yourself your own password as well as verify your password. From there, you'll enroll for a MOOC. Here, for you to enroll for a MOOC, you have to click on membership. So for the purposes of this presentation, I'll go directly there. So like I mentioned, you have created your own username, and now you have created your own password. So when you click on that, where you saw where it was written membership, when you click membership, you'll see here it's written my current sites, my official course enrollments, as well as joinable sites. When you click on joinable sites, you will see a MOOC written ISET Robotics 2022. So as you go down looking for ISET Robotics 22, you should find it. If not, you can click on this arrow here. When you click on this arrow where it says show 20 items, you should find it there. If not there, you can come here at the search button, whereby you click on I-set, and then immediately you say search, it will give you the result. Because of me, I've already joined, it won't give me the result. So that was just another option just to show you of how to get hold of this MOOC. So when you click on the MOOC, you will see an overview whereby we'll be explaining to you what is the aim of this MOOC, as well as the assessments on the MOOC, and indicating what will be happening in Unit 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes. Otherwise, I'll leave it for here for now. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask or raise your hand or post them on the chat box. Over to you, Nadine. Thank you.
Okay, so I've posted a link in the chat, which is the news for the week. It's about Neuralink's latest development. So Neuralink is Elon Musk's company, a company that Elon Musk co-founded. It's an artificial intelligence company that is starting to implant microchips into human brains. So they've had animal studies which have been a success so far. They've tested 19 animals, and they've announced that they'll be moving toward human trials in 2021. So Neuralink has a rival company called Synchron.
Can I kindly
Right?
please touch you there, Nadine?
Yes.
Can I share my screen while you're presenting? Is that fine?
Sure. Thank you.
Right. So this is what Nadine is talking about. Go for it, Nadine.
Okay, thanks, Tumelo. So we'll be updating you with news in technology using the Twitter page. And this is the latest development. So Synchron is a competitor company to Neuralink. Synchron has got FDA approval for a very similar technology. It's Neuralase technology as well. And they have already started human trials.
In which humans are they going to implant these chips?
They're actually, well, Neuralink is focusing on paraplegics. So they'll be testing it on people with spinal cord injuries. They'll be the first on the trial.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
So feel free to comment and add your questions or comments on the post.
Thank you very much. The news brought by Nadine. Oh, that's got a rhyme to it, Nadine. Awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you to Melo for sharing your screen. That was a good idea. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's teamwork.
Oh, man, nothing like teamwork here. Nothing like teamwork. Wow. All right. Okay. So are there any, I was wondering, Anzani, do you want to put your feedback link on the chat as well?
Yes. Can you just give me at least 2 minutes maximum? Just 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So I can.
Okay.
Yes. Just 2 minutes. I'll say. Yeah.
Awesome.
So basically, guys, just to give you some like a 411 as to what the link is about. So we usually have numbers, like number of participants that are joining us, and on the app on Teams, we would see that probably 35 people have logged on, but we've realized that other people log on in groups as well. So we're just trying to to assist regarding the stats. So if you have joined with someone, you'll let us know you've joined with someone, and if so, how many people have you joined with? So this will actually help us with the stats. So I hope you don't mind. I'll send through the link, and then you can just submit. It's a very quick questions, about 4 questions. That's all. Hope you can assist with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Zani. It will make for a rich analytics as well, because if we have some background information, that's amazing. Thank you very much. All right. Yes, and so the whole purpose of this community of online community is really to share ideas. So we've heard today of Northwest University doing it for their students, starting with Scratch, junior, going through Scratch, and then maybe they can get onto Python eventually. But you as educators or as inspirers of our learners that need to start programming, there are so many options, and what we presented today is just an overview of what is available. All right. Okay. And then Tumelo and Nadine are very keen to help you if you have any questions about the MOOC portal and how to get onto there. And we should have all the recordings uploaded onto the MOOC portal by this weekend. And for your review, that should work. Okay. And Zani, is your minute up?
Yes. Sorry, man. The thing is, I'm logged in with 2 devices. So
okay.
with the one in the computer, that's the one I'm using. But in the next 5 seconds, 2 seconds,
okay.
gone.
It seems that's fine. It
Yeah.
seems like the news is creating some comment from David. Yes, absolutely. For those who've lost mobility. Yes. Oh, actually, there's a case about it. Okay, so there's a follow-up already, Nadine. There's a case on the radio of where they're testing it for people who've lost mobility. It's life-changing. It's mind-changing. Yeah, it's mind-changing. That's for sure. But it's life-changing and yeah, awesome. And maybe one of you are the teacher of one of our future scientists. That's an inspirational idea. Okay, so Anzani has put up the form. If you could just go onto the form, share with us, share some information. No, it's not compulsory. No, you're not going to get a prize. It's just for us to kind of have a richer analytics, because the numbers are not really it's not just about numbers. It's about people. All right. Okay. So on that note, are there any other questions before we close the session? Everybody go and get a cup of tea. Yeah, I think this will be the place to hear the latest news, the robotics news by Nadine. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, and going forward, maybe you know of somebody that would volunteer for the Neuralink implant. Okay. All right. So on that note, I think I'm going to ask Tumelo, would you like to close the session?
Once again, thank you so much, participants, for being part of this very informative robotics software session. Thank you for your comments on the chat box. Thank you for your questions. For those of you who are still absorbing the information, here we go. Check on the chat box. I've included the ISET email address whereby you can ask us any questions regarding today's session. But otherwise, that's our social media page. As you have seen, Nadine has posted some news on our Twitter handle. That's our MOOC portal link as well for those of you who would like to join the link. If you are experiencing any challenges, like I mentioned, don't hesitate to email us at i-set@unisat.ac.za. Just include on your subject line that this is specifically for MOOC or this is specifically for robotics software session, so that it's much easier. Otherwise, thank you so much and have a happy Wednesday.
Thank you very much. We've got 15 minutes to fetch some tea or coffee, and we'll see each other then again at 4 o'clock. All right. Thank you for an awesome session. Thank you, team. Thank you, everybody. All right. See you at 4 o'clock. And Casper's going to stop the recording.